about to do is really horrible, and please don't try to replicate it. So initially I'm going to copy and paste all of this. I'm actually just going to copy and paste stuff, and then I'm going to be really sorry. I can do both creating normal and enemy platforms in one loop. So if I delete those lines, I can just add here enemy. But in this way, I will not be able to have different number of enemy and normal platforms. So I prefer to have two loops so that one of them can make a different number of steps like this for a different number of enemy platforms, and then I have to start just typing enemy here, enemy here, enemy here. And on one more spot, you should be really careful, as I told you. And this spot is easy to miss. So now I have an array with two enemy platforms, and then I might want to also copy and paste this big piece of code. So now again I have to write enemy on a lot of spots. For example, here, because I want to select X for the teleported enemy platform. Enemy here, enemy here, enemy here, enemy here. If I had some nice person that is really good at video editing, I could just skip this time that I'm just writing enemy, and you can see into the future. But now that I don't have such a nice person, you will stay with me and suffer the whole time that I'm writing enemy on all these places. So I think actually I'm ready. So it wasn't so much time. But now that I've perhaps edited on most of the places, actually on this place I don't need it, because when I hit an enemy platform, I don't want to step on it. Instead, I might want to go under the playing field, if there is our hell, or just log something like a game over. And I can now play my game with enemy platforms. No, I don't. Platform enemy size is not defined is a problem that I have on line 11. And really, I haven't created this array. So platform enemy size is also an array for the sizes of the platforms. Apparently on line 12 I also have a mistake. So I think that I have created platform enemy X. Actually, in all my code, I've made a huge mistake and I written platform enemy instead of enemy platform. So I'm going to use find replace to write platform enemy X and replace it with enemy platform X. And let's replace. It was not on many places. I guess I also have some on some spots platform Y, platform enemy Y, and I need to replace it with enemy platform Y. And as you can see, I'm not able to find, the brackets is not able to find any platform. Of course, I need to search for platform. So yeah, let's replace this and this and this and this and this and this. And perhaps I also have problem with platform size. Perhaps I have written on few spots platform enemy size, and instead I mean enemy platform size. Let's hope that those are all my mistakes for today, and just let's play our game. So you can see that I got a game over, which is kind of strange because I need to see game over only when I hit enemy platform, and as you can see, there aren't any enemy platforms visible. So what is going on? Why is this game over printing? Well, there are no enemy platforms visible because I draw none of them. But if I also copy and paste this code for enemy platforms, let's be more careful this time. Perhaps now I will be able to see the enemy platforms. And yes, apparently there are twice as many platforms now, I guess. And I can't understand which of them is enemy platform and which is normal platform. I need to write the line of code that changes the colors of the platforms and the colors of all the rectangles that we are going to draw. This line of code was, of course, context fill style to be equal to some really scary color, like, for example, red. And let's see if we are going to see some red platforms. If I try to avoid red platforms, perhaps I will not see a lot of game overs, but no, I'm too old for this speed. I'm going to reduce it. And let's see if I'm going to play now really without problems. As you can see, it's still too hard for me. And that's because I actually have two places for speed in my code. As I told you, there is a huge chunk of code in my update, copy it and paste it again and update. And this huge chunk of code makes, for example, two places in which to choose the speed of the platforms. Speed for the enemy platforms, which is still 15, and I wanted to change it to 5, and the actual speed of the platforms that I changed was for normal platform speed. Let's see what is going on now. Well, my game is still too difficult, but I think it's kind of fine. You can see that on one of the Ys that I see normal platforms on, there is no enemy platform. I made only two enemy platforms and three normal platforms. So perhaps this is fine. Perhaps you would like to choose another values for enemy platforms Y. One thing that we can do now is, for example, to have the similar variable such as platforms count or enemy platform count. Actually, we've made only enemy platform count. And I want you to start using it. This means that anywhere that I need to do something for all the enemies, for example, I want to draw all of the enemies, I will not count up to 3, but instead up to enemy platform count. I don't want to create only 2 or 3 platforms. I want to create enemy platform count platforms, or perhaps this is the only spot that I will keep a number like 2 here, and I will be careful to set final value to enemy platform count to be 2 after their creation. But sometimes I will create new enemy platforms. I don't know which is a good place in my code for creating a new platform, so perhaps I will just use the key-up code. This is not a good place, but I can create new platforms on each key-up. And this can be done by, for example, the same code that creates the platform here. Of course, if I increase enemy, if I set enemy platform size X and Y for a platform, but I don't increase enemy platform count, then the same number of platforms will be drawn. So what I need to do when I want a new platform is to increase enemy platform count, like this. And I should be careful which index of those platforms to use for the new platform. Well, which platform to use was a variable that was a counter in this for loop. But here in this code, I don't have any which platform to use. So instead I will use enemy platform count here and here and here. For example, if I have only 2 platforms in the beginning, there will be with indexes 0 and 1. And when I want a new platform, a good index for it will be index 2. So index 2 will be used for the new platform, and after this I will know that I don't have 2 platforms only, 0 and 1, but I will have a third platform with an index of 2. This is kind of crazy way to count, but I will use it because the arrays have index 0, and this is actually pretty useful in many cases. So let's see what's going on now. I can see only 2 platforms in the beginning, but if I press a key, I'm starting to see a third platform. Actually, it depends on which moment I'm going to press the key, because sometimes the new platform might be really close to an existing Y. Let's see if I press a key again and again and again. I hoped to see more new platforms, more new enemy platforms, but I don't see any of them. And this is kind of scary because I wasn't planning bugs now. I will press F12 to see is there any problems. Well, I have some game overs, but let's see what is enemy platform count in the moment. So it's on 14, and I was expecting to see 14 platforms. Apparently I've pressed keys a lot of times. Well, do I really have 14 values in my arrays, for example in enemy platform Y? I have kind of nice first three actually values, and apparently all of the other numbers are not fine. I can see that enemy platform X is much better, all of the numbers are fine, and enemy platform size I hope is also fine. But I got lucky, and the first array that I've seen is with the problem. The problem is that for some reason the Ys of the platforms, of most of my platforms, are too big, and actually the initial value that I gave to all of the platform Ys is really not very nice. This is evaluation that was written in the beginning for the initial platforms, and then we had such a counter. Now there is no such loop counting for which platform we are creating, because we are now creating only one platform, and it's with an index of enemy platform count. So somebody could easily say, well, just change this to enemy platform count, but then the numbers that are going to stay for my new platforms, I can see them in enemy platform Y, are actually much bigger. You can see that those are numbers that increase, and each new platform is down and down and more down under the playing field, and apparently it doesn't move for some reason. Actually, my real problem is that the new enemy platforms doesn't move. Only one of them, one of the new platforms, is moving. You can see that now I have two platforms, and when I press a key, I can have my third platform on such a way that it is visible in the playing field, it is teleporting down, and my game is working fine for the third platform, but not for any other platform. Well, what could be the reason? Is there a piece of my code that has the task to move the platforms, to teleport them? Where is this piece of code? Yes, of course, I've written this big piece of code for the normal platforms, and I copied it and pasted it for all the other platforms. For all the other platforms. For enemy platforms, I copied and pasted it for enemy platforms, and I think this piece of code should be working fine. I mean, it is working fine for the first three platforms, so I wonder if this line of code is executing for the other platforms. And actually there is a simple console log that I can use to see for which platforms is this code executing. I can print here which platform to use, and also I can print its new value, its new Y, the new value in the array of Ys. So let's see what is going on after I've moved each of the platforms. You can see that actually, even in the beginning, even before I had a third platform, I am trying to move it. Apparently this code is now working for 3 platforms, although I have only 2 platforms. Let's try to create a new platform. Yay! Now platform with index 2 does have nice Y values. Okay, let's now create more enemy platforms, and I hope that this loop is going to execute for new indexes, not only 0, 1 and 2. But sadly, on this place of code, in my code, I still have 3. What should I have here instead? Yes, enemy platform count is a variable now, and I am using it now, and it is the only way to know how many enemy platforms do I really have. Let's see what is going on now. So I only execute the loop for the enemy platforms for indexes 0 and 1 for now. Isn't this bad? I hoped to have a third platform and many new platforms, and well, my code is only moving the 2 platforms because I only have 2 existing platforms. I will now release a key so that I get my third enemy, and you can see that I released it in such a moment that they are on actually almost the same Ys. This is fine for me. By pressing a key, I created a new enemy, and I want to create more enemies, so I will hope to see not only 0 first and second index for the moved Ys, but I will hope to have new and fine Ys for a third and fourth platform. You can see that when I press a lot of keys, I can see next and next enemy platforms, but for some reason this stops at one moment, and it looks like only 3 platforms are working now. You can see that all 11 of my platforms, which have indexes from 0 to 10, are moving, are changing their Ys, but only 3 are visible, and I should debug this, and I might have mistakes with enemy platform Y or enemy platform size, but sadly I cannot see anything while the console is so spammed. So I'm going to go to my code and comment this line of code. Now it's going to be much easier for me. I only have 2 platforms, 3 platforms perhaps. Enemy platforms count is 3. Enemy platform Y look like a nice array with 3 normal numbers. Enemy platform X also looks fine, just those numbers are floating point and those are integer because I don't select random Ys, but I have a formula to select a Y. And let's finally see whether something is wrong with enemy platform size. Well, this looks just fine too. So everything with my 3 first platforms is fine. Let's create a new platform. I had 4 platforms for a while, and now sadly I still have only 3 platforms, I think. Let's have much more new platforms, and you can see that for a while I do see a lot of platforms, and sadly they stopped appearing for some reason. Let's see what we have now in our arrays. Enemy platform size looks just fine for all of the values in the array. Enemy platform Y was an array with a mistake pretty soon, and I can see that all of the numbers look just fine, and they actually change with time just fine. So perhaps I should also try enemy platform X, or this is an array that I think everything is fine with. Enemy platform X is an array with just fine numbers in the beginning. So, whoa, this array is full of values that are not a number. I wonder, is there any piece of my code that could actually give such bad values for all those platforms that are not visible now? And why this piece of code only gave such a values for the platforms after platform 2? This could be a really strange line of code, because apparently everything in my code is working fine. The y's are changing, they are decreasing, and the platforms are going up, and they are going back to 600 when the platform reaches the top of the playing field. I can write a lot of console walks in my code, or perhaps try to trace it just in the way the computer will do. And all of those ideas are not really easy to do. In such cases, the best way to find your bug is to look for any instance where we change enemy platform X. So I'm going to look for all these spots, and here we are making it an array. Here we are giving initial values for the starting two platforms, two enemy platforms, and we are giving those values based on the values of enemy platform size. Then we are checking for a collision, and we are not changing anything in enemy platform X. This is a line of code in which we change enemy platform X, and we do it each time the platform has reached the top of the playing field. So this is a place that there can be some mistake, but I cannot imagine how this mistake is going to affect the first three platforms fine, and then ruin the next platforms. But let's see all the other instances when we change enemy platform X. And I don't change it here, and I do change it here. This can be a line of code that there is something wrong. So I'm going to write two console logs. This is one of the places that I want to see what is the value of enemy platform X given. I will also print here enemy platform Y for the new platform. And let's see what is going on now. Well, initially I have two platforms, and when I press a key, I have a problem with enemy platform Y. So let's see this line of code and why enemy platform Y is wrong. Actually, it should not be wrong, because we were seeing a third platform for a while, and enemy platform Y is just fine. I am picking a great value for it. Just on the next line after this console log, I will move this console log here, and I think everything will be much better now. So you can see this undefined console log here, and now after refreshing, everything is going to be fine. Yes, my new platform is on X335 and some floating point digits, and 600, so there is a fine third platform. Let's see where is the fourth platform, which is going to have an index of 3. So This is strange. It's on Y800. Okay. Next platform is on Y1000. And apparently I am giving nice values to platform X, and I'm giving such a big platform Y that that the platforms need to wait before entering the playing field. And you can see that now there was a new platform and it disappeared. I wonder what is in enemy platform X now. You know that this was a value that, sorry, of course the array is enemy platform X. So yeah, this array again has not a number values, although I put it in nice values inside of it. So those values should really change. They should not stay the way I've created them here on line 64. They should change here on line 43. And I think that they should change to something nice, because this is the formula that I also used initially. And this is the formula that I used to pick the initial X of a new enemy platform. So I'm kind of amazed by this mistake now. And I will print the selected enemy X, enemy platform X. And let's see if there is something wrong here. So you can see that all my platforms have teleported a lot of times on a new X. When I press a key, there is going to be a third platform, so the numbers here are selected more often, but they're still just fine numbers. They're numbers smaller than 800, and they're selected in such a way that all of the platform fits on the playing field. So I really have a really strange bug, because even this part of my code selects nice numbers. Well, actually it selects them because I still have only 3 platforms, and my bug occurs when I have more than 3 platforms. Let's see what numbers are going to be selected when I have a new platform. So I pressed any key and I have a 4th platform, and I can see none values starting to appear now for the new enemy platform X's. If I press one more key, I will have 2 new enemy platforms, and yeah, for some reason apparently this line of code selects wrong X for the platforms only after the 3rd one, only after the 2nd one, meaning it selects a good X for platform 0, 1, 2, but bad X for the next platforms. How can this happen? Well, we want to pick a random value from 0 to 1 and then multiply it by 800, the size of the playing field, minus the size of the current platform. So this is the place that I'm subtracting this size. And actually I'm not subtracting its actual size. I'm subtracting the size of a normal platform. On this place I should have written enemy platform size. This sounds like a really small bug. I was subtracting and I was using in a formula a value about the normal platforms when I need a value for the enemy platforms. Well, this is a problem because I was in a situation in which I have a lot of enemy platforms and only 3 normal platforms, and that's why all of the new positions selected for X of the enemy platforms was wrong. Let's see if I fixed anything by using the size of actual enemy platform. I'm creating a third platform. I'm creating a fourth platform. And you can see that now I don't have any nuns here, and I'm really increasing the number of enemy platforms on the playing field. As you know, the new platforms have a delay before they appear. You can hear that I'm really horribly pressing the keyboard, but I had to wait for the new platforms to appear. I hope you like their amount now, but I can actually increase it even more. But for the new platforms to appear, I have to wait because they are Ys. The selected Ys of the new platforms here are initially a result of a formula using enemy platform count. So when I have 100 platforms, the new platform will be on Y100 multiplied by 200, which is 20,000. So this is going to be really under the playing field. You can see that the number of platforms is still increasing, but those are only platforms that was created so much down. So I want you to change something small in my code. Please write here a good constant number that is not a result of a formula, so that all the new platforms appear, for example, from the bottom of the playing field. And then move all this code to another place. We don't want to have the player increase the number of enemy platforms, because of course he will never do it. For example, we can increase the number of enemies here in the update. I realized that I talked too long in this video part, but I wanted to show you the bad way to do this task. So your actual task for now is to not try to run my horrible version. The reason I talked so boringly and so long, because I wanted to make the horrible version of Rapid Row myself. The actual thing that I want you to write when you're ready with those two easy tasks is to write your own Rapid Row using a new array that I didn't create, that was going to help me really much. If instead of all those enemy arrays I have an array called is the platform enemy, then the game will be much easier to code, because a lot of parts in my code, as I told you a lot of times, are going to be much easier and without any copy paste. You've seen that copy pasting so much code make huge mistakes that are not going to happen if we had a simple version of Rapid Row without so many copy pasted arrays. Good luck.